This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. Here we are, Boxing Day, and we are three-peating Boxing Day. I haven't had a guest three-peat on a date too many times.
Yeah.
Joe Camp, the director of the Benji movies, did three-peat on the same date in November.
Wow. That's so. How did you get Joe Camp from the Benji movies? You're
I
persistent.
messaged him and he came on. He was happy to talk about it.
That's so nice. That's so amazing. Good for you. Well, yes, we're back again for number 3, and I am happy to be here. Happy Boxing Day, everybody. It's fun to be able to chat with you again, Greg.
Well, folks, one of the great things about Zoom, and when our station went into lockdown in 2020, I had about 30 guests waiting for me. And so I went the rest of the year still working my regular job, but not able to do my show. And it was Nancy McLaughlin of Friday the 13th, Part 6, who said, if she can do Zoom, I can do Zoom.
Yeah.
So I got on Zoom. I started with, it was Carrie Yates, who's involved with 13 Fanboy, who got me connected with Zoom. And that was my first. And here we are still talking about 13 Fanboy. But you know what? One of the great things about Zoom is I can see my guests. And I'm so happy to be able to see the gorgeous, beautiful, stunning, flawlessly beautiful face of my guests.
Such a nice person, Greg. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's really kind of you to say that. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Folks, I give you the reason I put a lot of money, a couple of thousand into 13 Fanboy.
Wow, Greg, you're crazy. But you know what? It was a great movie, right? It turned out really great. What'd you think of the movie?
Well, first we're going to talk about what I think of you. 13 Fanboy, Friday the 13th, Part 3. The reason to watch it in 3D. Folks, I give you the gorgeous, beautiful, stunning Tracie Savage.
Thank you.
You know what? I had a massive crush on you growing up, and as a result.
Wow. Well, that movie was a long, long time ago. Crazy.
I would have been 10 when that movie came out.
Yeah.
And from what I can see, you still look stunning.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. Well, before I talk about the movie, how was your Christmas?
Oh, it was very nice. Thank you. It was great. Yeah. We all got COVID tested before we started. I had a whole gang here, my family. I have family in LA, and we're all triple vaccinated. We all have booster shots, and we all got COVID tested. As people walked in, we were doing the little home testing. And so that was nice. Last year we did Christmas outside, in the cold with heaters on and heavy coats to try to stay, and masks, of course. So this year it was kind of nice to be inside and have it was sort of felt normal again, although, COVID's not over, and it's raging through California now. So it's a little scary, but I had a very nice holiday. How about you? How was your holiday?
Well, Santa didn't find me, found my cat.
There you go.
And I'm pretty sure I was better behaved than he was.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
He found my cat, though. He's got everything all over the floor over there.
That's nice.
He doesn't pick up after himself.
No, well, he's a cat. What do you want?
No, but yeah, 3 times Boxing Day. I got to do, again, a special shout out to Mr. Mike Gottridge, who connected us. I do have the Bone Garden here packed away somewhere, because this is kind of a temporary location until my brother and sister-in-law and I get our own place. Where I live downstairs, they live up. COVID kind of put a halt to that, and my brother's been taking care of my folks. So
that's nice. Yeah. Well, Mike Guttridge is the greatest. He's a very dear friend of mine. We go back a long time. when he was an editor at NBC and I was a news reporter at NBC in Los Angeles. And he used to edit my stories. And I didn't know him well, you know, obviously when I first met him, I was getting to know him, and it was maybe, a few months into it, he's edited a few of my stories, and I was in the editing booth with him, and he starts quoting lines from Friday the 13th, Part 3 of mine. And I hadn't, you know, the movie was 30 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, who is this person? And anyway, we laughed and bonded over that, and have been, you know, really good friends ever since. He's a wonderful guy, got an amazing family, and a good filmmaker, and just a very sweet individual. So I'm lucky to have him as a friend of mine.
Yeah. Did you you got to eat, of course, some of the spaghetti during Bone Garden?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He said that during the commentary track.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a super fun movie to work on. I really hadn't played the lead in a film since I was a kid, and you know, I had the character. I won't give too much away, but I go kind of crazy in the end, and that was like really out of my reach of acting skills. Like, what are we doing here? It was fun. It was super fun. It was 3 weeks on location, and great crew, and just a great experience. Really, I had a blast working on that movie. It was so much fun, and Mike did a great job with it.
Did Mike know that you were working there when he was quoting your lines?
Oh yeah, of course, definitely. Yeah, no, I mean, he's quoting them to me. You know, he would come up to me. I'd be sitting in the edit bay with him, and he's editing my stories, my news pieces, and he would start pulling out a Friday the 13th Part 3 line, and I would look at him like, oh, okay, who are you? And we'd laugh. And so yeah, that's kind of how we got to be friendly.
Well, look what I'm wearing today.
Nice, very good. I love it. Wow, that's awesome.
In addition to that,
13 Fanboy. Yep.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. That is so cool. And so you've gotten to see the movie a few times, I take it.
You know what? I expressed my disappointment about this to Debbie Sue. It didn't screen anywhere here in Canada.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Because I told her, I said I was going to be in Toronto for a week for Frightmare in the Falls.
Mm-hmm.
And upon doing that, Toronto would have been a perfect place to see it. And it didn't play here. It played in various places in the States and the UK. I almost didn't watch it for that reason.
Just out of protest?
Well, I don't stream stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what changed my mind. Halloween Kills came out, and everybody and their dog got on the internet and started posting spoiler reviews.
Oh boy.
Now, when I work, I listen to podcasts to help the hours go by quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And the spoilers come out in vast variety for Halloween Kills. I still went and saw the movie, but still it was like they spoil it. When I do the show, it's nice to have views and likes and hits, but I don't do that strictly for that. I do it because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people come online and it's like a popularity contest. It's like who can get the most views, likes, and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it come to 13 Fanboy, I was at work, and it wasn't until I was driving home that I thought I probably should go online and stream this, because I put money into this.
I would
And
think so. You need to watch it. Yeah, for sure. You could not watch it being, from the very beginning of it and being involved and helping to fund it. You needed to watch it.
yeah. So I don't know how much money I put into this movie. I couldn't tell you. I just know it was in the four digits.
Wow. Well, you're a very generous guy.
Yep. And it was because of one reason. Debbie Sue dropped one name, and that did it for me.
Yeah,
Your
that's
name.
nice.
How do
That's
you feel
nice.
about that?
That's really sweet. I'm very flattered, and I'm happy that my work on Friday the 13th was in some way help to support a film that was made 40 years afterwards. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yep. Yep. So I said, the moment she dropped your name, I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this.
That's so nice. That's so
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So,
Well, I think it's wonderful. I think it's great, and I'm happy and I appreciate it. And I'm sure Deborah appreciates it.
yeah. And I got the whole box set here too.
Oh, you did? Wow.
Yeah. With your little film here.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I've only seen that movie, Friday the 13th, Part Three. I think maybe two times in my life. Swear to
That's
God.
it.
Yep. I saw it when it first premiered, and I wasn't even in California. I was in Michigan visiting family, and I saw it at a small theater in a little resort town in Michigan. And then I didn't see it again until the 25th anniversary. And there was a screening in Hollywood at the Chinese Theater. It was called the Grauman's Chinese Theater. It's where all those handprints and footprints are of famous celebrities. It's that theater. And they had a 25th anniversary screening. And so I went and saw that. And it was literally the second time I'd seen the movie in all those years. I was in college when it came out, and I ended up, just working and getting my first job as a news reporter. And I worked in Toledo and Flint and then Dayton, Ohio. And I was so busy, and just really, I had kind of moved on from acting and that whole showbiz, and was, working hard as a journalist. And so once it was out in the theaters, back then we really didn't have many, DVDs and cassettes weren't even created yet, so I either had to see it in the movie theater, which I did in the beginning, or, wait for it to stream on like TV or something, which it didn't. And it finally came out on with Blockbuster, probably not too much after that. Let's see, the movie was 82. Blockbuster was probably around at that time in the 80s. But anyway, I just was really busy and focusing on my career, and I never got to see it again. And so when I did see it, I guess that was 15 years ago. 82 to 22. It's almost 40 years now. But 15 years ago, when I saw it at the 25th anniversary, it was fun to see. It was fun. It brought back some fun memories, and I got a kick out of it. The music was funny, that sort of disco 80s music. And my Wi-Fi is not working there. I keep freezing. There we go. Disco 80s music, and the dialogue was kind of silly, but it was fun. I loved it. It was campy, and it was fun to see after all those years. I hadn't seen it 25 years.
There you go. Well, I did watch 13 Fanboy, and I watched it on YouTube. And Debbie Sue said to me this year, she said, it's not supposed to be on YouTube. And I said, that's where I streamed it.
For free on YouTube?
No, it was $6.99.
Oh,
First time she said that wasn't one of the streaming platforms. Well, it was there.
yeah. I hope she gets money for that.
$6.99 it was on for, so that's where I watched it, and I watched it 3 times. So I had it for 2 or 3 days. it was nice to see my name my name was at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie. And
That's awesome.
my picture was all covered in blood.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
That was pretty great. I thought that it was really brilliant of Deborah to include the fans in the funding and production of the movie. It was such a smart business move, and really to get the fans involved was wonderful. And I just loved the whole idea that fans could be a part of the movie and help fund it. And, like you're having pictures in it. And there were some fans who showed up and had small parts in the movie. And I just think that was a really smart thing for her to do. I hadn't actually read the script except for my scene. So I didn't even know what the movie was about. Even when I filmed it, I didn't really know what it was about. I mean, I kind of had an idea, but I never read the whole script because I was busy working in Los Angeles and had lots of stuff going on. And Deborah, asked me to come in and play the role. And I did. And she sent me just, my scenes. And so I never really even knew how the movie ended or who the main characters were. I knew I just had kind of a small part, but that end scene with me down in the basement was pretty pivotal. It was a pretty big, crazy scene. But I didn't even realize that as we were shooting it until I saw it when I finally went to the screenings, and there were 2 here in Los Angeles, and I went to both of them and saw Deborah and saw the whole, a lot of the people from the movie, which was wonderful, and got to go to the screening. And that was the first time I'd seen the whole movie and knew what it was even about, which was kind of funny. It's like, oh, so that's how this goes. So that's what it's about. It was funny. It was fun.
Yeah, I've interviewed Christopher Norris, who played the janitor.
Oh, yeah, Christopher. Yeah, nice guy.
You want me to tell you some trivia about him?
Sure.
He doubled for Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
He did?
Mm-hmm.
How? Where was he living?
I don't know, but that was he doubled for Harrison.
That's pretty cool. That's so cool. That was a long time ago. He had to be a young guy because he's a young guy. I mean, he's not, he's not Harrison Ford's age. Harrison Ford is 70 and
Harrison Ford is pushing 80.
He's pushing 80. Yeah, probably. Yeah, he's older. And I know that Christopher, he's got to be in his maybe 30s or 40s or something. I can't imagine. So he must have been pretty young when they did that movie, but that's cool. That's really neat. I love it.
Yeah, his death scene was the big talk of 13 Fanboy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite scene, I laugh about this. My favorite scene with me was when when the killer you see Christopher on the floor there with the broom sticking out of his head.
Yeah.
And then off in the distance, you see the killer dragging me across the floor. My arms are up and my legs are straight, and he's pulling me, and I'm just lying. When I saw that, I just laughed. I just thought it was awesome. Like, here I am, this dead body being dragged across the floor out of the classroom.
I often wonder, between you and Lar Park Lincoln, was there scenes that were cut, like between you guys getting captured and when you guys have your last scene?
Not really, although there were a couple, like in the scene in the classroom where the killer comes and gets me, and then I put the scissors through his hand. They cut out of that quicker. We had shot some additional shots where he grabs me and puts me against the wall and chokes me out basically, and then I collapse down the wall. And that never made it into the movie. I don't know why. It probably didn't look real or something, but that part was cut out of the movie.
Well,
that's the only thing. There was nothing else, and then I get dragged across the floor. And then the next time you see me is in the basement with the video camera rolling. And so.
Yeah, I would have changed that scene a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Yeah,
just a little.
I
Yeah.
would have changed that scene a little bit.
All right. Well,
Just like I would have changed it in Friday the 13th Part 3.
yeah. Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah, I've had Riley C. Morris on here, and I said to him, I said, we want an uncut version of this movie. I said, if we could sit through something as boring as Titanic for 3 hours, then we deserve a 3 hour horror film.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty funny. Well, the problem with that is it's hard to get theaters to want to run a 3 hour movie. They like to turn them over, right? They like to have 90-minute movies or even an hour and 15-minute movies, 65-minute, 70-minute movies that they can crank out, a new audience every 2 hours. And if the movie runs longer than 2 hours, you're cutting down on your tickets you can sell, right? The whole business.
Yeah, but I said to Riley, I said for the Blu-ray we need the full cut.
That's funny. Yeah.
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 It,
He was great. Riley was a nice guy.
yeah, I liked him in his brief scene as the hairdresser.
Yeah, he was great. He was funny. He did a
Yeah.
great job.
How funny was Corey Feldman?
It's funny. He worked, I think, a day before I got there, and I never met him and never saw him. And we never connected. We were never on the set together. Never even got to say hi to him. He played quite a character, though. I'll tell you, he really changed, I think, what was in the script to play this sort of, crazy guy, and he did quite the job.
Yeah. Um, so going into your background, I noticed reading up on you, you were born in Michigan. Of course, that's I think is Jason Bradford's stomping ground.
Yeah, I actually was born in Chicago.
Oh.
So Wikipedia, you can't always believe what you read there. I was born in Chicago, and we moved. My family was from Michigan, and they had moved to Chicago where I was born, and we lived there for a couple of years, and then we moved back to Michigan when I was about 2, and then I lived in Michigan until I was 7, 6.5 or so, and then I moved to Los Angeles and lived in Los Angeles until college, and then I went back to Michigan and Ohio.
You see, that was what I was going to bring up, that you went back to Michigan. Did you just go back for college, or were you just homesick for it?
No, no. My whole family, my immediate family, like my mom and dad and brothers, we were all in Los Angeles.
Hmm.
But I did have relatives back in Michigan, and I spent summers back there with family. And University of Michigan is such a great college that I thought it would be a good place to get my college degree from.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. And I have some family members who went to Michigan. I have family members who went to Michigan State. So there was a bit of a rivalry there, but yeah, it just was a great place to get a degree from.
So tell me, in this day and age, you ever look out the window at night and see your brother hanging out there?
No, no, you're talking about Salem's Lot. Yeah. No, my brother's a sweet man. He's a good guy. He's not a vampire that's going to stalk my windows and tap on them and scare the pants out of me. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
All you have to do is just pull the shades down.
That's true. That's very true.
They never do that in these movies.
I know. Well, of course, and they always run towards trouble instead of away from it. So, it's like stupid. But yeah, that was Salem's Lot was a great movie. Brad was very young on that movie. But Stephen King, is like a famous horror novelist and writer, and just it was neat that Brad got to work on that film, and it still has a pretty big following. There's a lot of people that still follow that movie.
Toby Hooper directing it.
Wow, you have a knowledge that goes back. Good for you.
Yeah, he did that after Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's
before
right.
Poltergeist.
Wow, God, that I didn't know that. That's great. Good trivia.
Poltergeist came out the same year as this movie did.
It did? Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
So in 13 Fanboy, there's I'm going to avoid spoilers just because, the movie's been only out a short while. I know a lot of people have gone on and spoiled it. I don't believe in doing that.
That was
But
good. That's nice.
I didn't even give a review for the film, so, but
Well, can I ask you, did you like it?
yeah, I liked it. I liked it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I especially liked one particular person in it.
Aw, you're too kind. You're too kind. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, there was one of the scenes I really liked in the movie was after Christopher Norris does I should give him some tips about cleaning,
There you go.
because I think I could have avoided that.
Yeah.
Listen to podcast, not music.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But he was after he's gone, he comes up to the door, the killer does, and he shows a key, shakes the key, and then when it doesn't work, he shakes it again for the next one and sticks it in. And I love watching you just gradually increase in panic during those scenes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was yeah. It was, Deborah did a great job directing that and, showing the terror of knowing that there's some killer that has already killed and he's coming after you. That's a pretty frightening thing.
Jason Bradford was a horrible security guard.
Yes, he sure was. He sure was.
So what you do next is you push your desk up against the door.
There you know what? I don't know. I taught journalism. I didn't teach self-help. I didn't teach security. That would have been a pretty good idea, I guess, but I didn't think about it. I was too panic stricken.
Look at me changing the script.
Yeah, exactly.
So that climatic scene, I know there's a drill involved, and tell me what you can about that. I mean, if I have you back next year on Boxing Day, we can get into it more detail, but what can you share about?
Well, it was crazy shooting that scene. Mm-hmm. And, special effects are always tricky because you really can only do it once. Mm-hmm. I think I had 2 versions of that dress. So if I got covered in blood, but it was so messy and so bloody. There was no way we were going to be able to do it more than once. And, but then all of the takes of the little quiz that they gave me, asking me about trivia about the movies. And then that was pretty funny because it was kind of legitimate. Like, I don't know. I was only in the first movie and I never saw another one after that. I went off to college and I was busy working as a professional reporter. And I don't know these answers. And it was real. I mean, that was legit they were asking me these trivia questions. I had no idea, and it was Vince, who is also, works in the industry and knows the horror genre really well. So he was a lot of those questions were questions that he came up with that throwing them out at me.
I could have answered every darn one of them.
Yeah, I'm sure most people could that know the genre. But oops, hang on one second. I'm getting a phone call.
You're popular.
Well, hardly, but thank you. Anyway, it was just fun to shoot the scene. And then when, the drill, I won't give too much away, but I can say a couple of funny things happened. One, we were rehearsing and Vince, had to hold it up against my head. And and he, it was like, all right, action. And it was just a rehearsal. And I went, and as he brought it close, I went, ow, like that. I was joking because didn't hurt at all. Didn't even barely touch me. And poor guy, he was like, oh God, I totally freaked him out. And that was funny. But when we actually did the scene, I was covered in blood from head to toe. I mean, more blood than you can ever. My entire body was covered in blood. And I had to fly home to Los Angeles that evening. I think I had like a 6 o'clock flight, and it was maybe a 2-hour drive from where we were shooting to the airport. And I had to get rinsed off, and we weren't in the hotel anymore. We were at this location that had basically like a utility sink that I'm trying to like stick my arms in there and my legs in there, trying to get this blood off of me. But it was everywhere, covered. My skin was pink for about a week because the red blood, like tinted my skin like this pink, even though I would scrub it off, and I tried with soap and a brush, and it was crazy. It was so, and so I'm like trying to get off all this wet, icky clothes, get the blood off of me, and then get dressed. And then, I'm still like, my hair was just gross, and I couldn't really shower. I like stuck my head under the sink, and so, it was quite the adventure. It was quite a memory. But that was a pretty crazy scene. And it turned out to be, I didn't realize, quite the pivotal scene, the end of the movie. And Dee Wallace, was watching it. By the way, if there's any reason to see the film besides that it was awesome, Dee Wallace is amazing in it. And she's just such a great actress. And it really added a lot of prestige to the film, having her in it. She's a wonderful, wonderful actress, and really brought a lot of credibility to the movie by having her in it.
You could have got on the plane and just said you were auditioning for the Carrie White play.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I wanted to play Carrie. I'm in character.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's funny.
It's funny. I interviewed Dee the first time back in 2015. She had done a movie down here. So anyway, I met her at Horrorama 2018, and she actually remembered me, which was pretty cool.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Well, she's a very lovely, classy woman. She really is. She's just, there's no airs about her. She's not, conceited, like, big movie star. She's as nice and grounded and sweet as she can be. I can see that she would remember you and probably be super nice to you, because she's just that kind of person.
Yeah, she signed my E.T. Blu-ray and The Howling, and I got a picture taken with her. What I remember most about her, meeting her, it's the only time, and I'd like to see this be more often, she's the only time I ever went to a con and somebody had a debit machine. She had a debit machine where you could, when you made your purchases.
And she brought it, or it was just happened to be near her?
I don't know, but she had one on hand.
Wow. So for people who didn't have cash and they just get to take money out of their bank with their ATM card.
I hate carrying cash.
Oh, I don't carry cash either. I never do. I don't either. I stopped carrying it like several years ago. Yeah,
so that made it a little easier.
That's true. That's funny. That's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then I had her on again this year to talk about 13 Fanboy.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yep.
You did. Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
You get so many people, Greg. You're really, you work hard at it. I think it's really something to be proud of. It's really great that you do that, and that you've managed to get so many people and just keep it going. And people think you do and know you do a good job, so they come back and are willing to talk to you because you're professional and have a good voice. You sound good on the radio, and you ask good questions, and you've done your research, your interview research, right? And so that all makes it. And so, people who are doing these, they don't want to do them if the person, it's hard to do them if you're being interviewed by someone who just doesn't know their stuff. And because it kind of feels like, all right, this person didn't even bother to do any research. And, okay, I'll do it, but I might not come back. But people come back to you because they know that you're a pro at it. So that's really great. That's a big testament. And then you get these big celebrities is a big testament to the kind of work you do. So good for you.
I fell into this kind of by accident.
Yeah.
I had a third party end up getting an interview contact with Tommy Wiseau from The Room. And I said, let's do it on the air. I mean, what are you going to do? Talk to him on the phone? Let's record it. And after that interview, it was like, who else can I do this with?
What year was this? How long ago was this?
2015.
2000. Oh, so not that long though.
Yeah.
You've only been doing it like 6-7 years.
For the podcast part, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Wow.
So it's like after that, it was like, who else could I interview? And it was like, I went back and thought about my uncle's old video store he had from 81 to 88. And it was like, at first I was like, I made a list of some of the females I had crushes on growing up. Your name was on that list.
Yeah.
And I was like, who do I want to talk to? And I remember I reached out to Adrienne King and I reached out to Lisa Langlois. I was surprised because Adrienne got back to me the long weekend in May. And I just kind of leaned back in my chair. I was at my brother's apartment at the time. And I was like, she said yes. Because I just kind of messaged on a whim, I didn't.
That's so cool.
Because had it been Tommy Wiseau, one and done, he was in The Room. James Franco played him in The Disaster Artist. I could have been one and done.
Yeah.
Lisa Langlois eventually got in touch with me, and she and we talked last night on the phone.
Wow.
She and I are friends. We exchanged Christmas gifts. She invited me to my first con. That was Horrorama in Toronto.
Oh, does she live in Canada?
She lived in, she's from Canada, but she lived in Los Angeles for 32 years.
Okay.
But she moved back here because she always wanted to come back. And we got talking about travel. I'm 49 years old. I have never at that time been outside New Brunswick.
Oh, wow.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would get homesick just going to a couple cities over.
Yeah.
So we got talking about travel, and she said, what's stopping me? And she made, as Marlon Brando would say, an offer I could not refuse. She invited me to assist her at her table at Horrorama in Toronto.
That's fantastic.
She was in Class of 1984, which is a movie I'm very familiar with.
What was she in that what horror film? Class of Night? What other films was she in?
She was in Happy Birthday to Me.
Okay.
She was in the Nest. She was in Deadly Eyes.
Okay.
And she was in Phobia, which was directed by John Huston.
Wow, big.
Yep. So she invited me, and it was the first time. I'm the only one in my family that's been on a plane.
Wow.
And it's funny because when I got to Toronto, it's kind of struck me that I wasn't homesick. But she trained me well on the subways and the streetcars. She met me at the Union Station there, and once I dropped my stuff off, we went to dinner, and we didn't even talk about her career. She asked me a lot of questions about where I'm from and this and that. And every time I go to Toronto, I always connect with her. So yeah.
That's very nice. That's so cool.
That was wonderful. I know last time I went to Frightmare in the Falls because Horrorama wasn't happening because when restrictions lifted, they didn't have time to book people. And so I rented a car to go to Niagara Falls. She drove, and she had a friend that she was going to go see, and I went to the con. So we made a road trip out of it.
That's so cool.
Yep. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I've been I think this year right now has been my record breaker. I'm going to top 140 interviews this year.
Wow. Wow.
Previously, my record was 2017 with 128.
Wow.
And I had a bunch of the 13 Fanboy people on for a group Zoom as well. So
Wow.
yeah, so I must have interviewed about 25 people from 13 Fanboy.
That's amazing.
Well, I did a post on there, and I had said anybody that's not in the main cast, behind the scenes, who wanted to come on my show and do an interview and tell their story, to come on.
That's
You
great.
know,
That's great.
and I had
I'll bet
about,
you got great stories from those people, right? Who were
oh
on the,
yeah,
for many of the people for some of them, it might have been their first exposure to a film set.
mm-hmm.
And so what a great experience for them.
Yep, I had and some of their names I have a hard time pronouncing, like Tony De Benedetto.
Yeah.
I had him on. I struggle with his name, but I had him on. I had who else? Because I know Jason Bradford threw a bunch of names out to me as well. And I'm glad I did this because watching 13 Fanboy, I saw some of them do their cameos, like Orlando Rodriguez as the photographer who says to Haley Greenbauer, "Hey, look over here," that was him. And the guy that can't even think of his name off the top of my head, who was the other janitor outside of Christopher Norris.
Oh, I don't remember.
The creepy one there at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't
Yep.
remember.
But I've had I had him on. Of course, I've had Troy Elke on a couple times, and you hear his voice in the film, being a really bad security guard. So we'll be right there. He wasn't right there.
That's funny.
But no, I'm glad I saw it, but I would have preferred to see it on the big screen. Here's the thing about seeing something in the theater. It's like seeing it live.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. I've seen a million times on home video. When I was in Toronto in 2019, it was playing at a midnight screening, and I attended it. The band Blood Opera performed prior to it. That's a band that was endorsed by George A. Romero. They get all decked up in their costumes and whatnot, but they performed before it. And seeing the movie with an audience is a lot different than seeing it home. That's why I say it's like seeing it live. So I was hoping to see 13 Fanboy that way, because I am still a cinema goer.
Yeah.
Even during the pandemic, I still went to the theater when it was open.
Yeah, well, probably it was empty. So
there was some places that was empty.
Yeah, which is so sad. It breaks my heart. I feel bad for those people.
Yeah. Well, again, I got double vaxxed, but I got double vaxxed for Toronto.
Yeah.
Had it not been for Toronto, I might not have, because I work the back shift. So I'm not working around people. So I probably would not have gotten it. But
yeah.
But I called Lisa, because I always connect with Lisa when I go to Toronto, and I said, are you open for seeing me if I come down to Toronto? And she said yes, and said that's when I decided to get double vaxxed.
Yeah, smart.
Yep. Yeah. And I didn't fall sick at all, you know?
Well, I got the booster, and the booster, I didn't feel bad with the first two, but the booster really, my arm hurt really bad, and I felt pretty crappy. I felt pretty crappy afterwards, more than the first two. So I guess they say that means it's working, but I didn't feel so good.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? But when I got my second boost of my second shot, I didn't have time to be sick because I had to get a new car that day because my old car stalled in the middle of a busy highway.
Oh dear.
And it's not the first time it stalled. So I had to have transportation for work, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I never missed any time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, I just want to give you a heads up. I've got about 15 more minutes and then I'm going to have to go.
15 more minutes.
Yes.
Oh
We've
man,
been talking for an hour. It's hard to believe.
this is the highlight of my Christmas is seeing your beautiful
Oh,
face.
you're so nice, Greg. Thank you. I'm glad we could do this.
How's
Um,
your mom?
oh, my mom is doing well. She's fine. She's busy and but she's retired too, and she's doing really well. She's doing great. Thanks for asking.
Well, it's funny because I remember I saw some posts online where she's a casting director, and I was like,
No, she's a talent agent. She
oh, a
represented
talent.
child actors. So she wasn't a casting agent. She was an agent. She was a
Oh,
children's
okay.
children's talent agent, and so she had a lot of celebrity stars. You heard of Shailene Woodley?
Yeah.
So that was her client.
She was in The Descendants. That was the first
Yeah,
time I
that's
saw her.
yeah, and so she's had a lot of she represents children. She was a children's talent agent for about 40 years, and represented a lot of young kids and made a lot of them stars. And she's retired now. She's been retired for probably 5 or 10 years.
She represented David Cadams too, right?
She did, yeah, that's right. She
Was
did.
that pre-Tommy Chong look?
Well, probably. I think that Tommy Chong look came just for that movie.
I guess so. I don't recognize him now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I know I sent you a message about seeing if she'd come on here, but you know, but that's the thing with me is I always look for the story, you know.
I love it. That's smart. That's
That
really good.
that's why when I went after those behind the scene, because there's a lot of the bigger names in 13 Fanboy people are gonna go after.
Yeah, yeah. No, I thought it was really smart for you to interview the behind, the people who worked on the movie, because those people, for many of those people, it might be their first exposure to a film set, and you're
Hmm.
going to get like, a real perspective that you wouldn't get from a seasoned person who's been on a million film sets. It's like, it's just another set. But these are people, it's like their first experience. And I think that was really smart of you to interview those people. I think that's great.
Yeah, and plus it allowed me to, like I said, I had about 7 of them on a group Zoom, and I was only going to do 40 minutes with them, but because I only have basic Zoom. But a thing came up said Zoom's extending it to unlimited for meetings during the holiday. So what started as 40 minutes extended to 2 hours.
Wow. Well, with 7 people, you'd need that much time for everybody to get a
Well,
chance to
it
talk.
was hard to schedule them because you had Kerry Yates and John Huey in the UK. You had Troy Elke in Oregon.
Wow.
And
Like
then you
five
had,
time zones away from each other.
so I had to figure out, and a lot of people wanted on there when Troy was on there because Troy is so gifted at some of the strange videos he puts up, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I've had him on here a couple of times, plus that one.
Yeah. Wow.
And so what had happened, it started out with was him and no, it was Kerry Yates was through the whole thing. Dave Miller was on here for about an hour's worth of it. And And I'd say towards the end, Riley C. Morris got in there. And I'm glad he did, because when I think of 13 Fanboy, the four chair legs would be Debbie Sue Voorhees, Jason Bradford, Riley C. Morris, and Joel Paul Rising.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had them all on.
That's amazing. Yeah. Rising, Joel, he lives in Michigan.
Yes.
It's funny. There's a lot, good connection there.
So I had as many of them as I could on, and I know what it's like to be left out. So that's why I wanted to get some of the behind the scenes people.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's nice. That's very
Yeah.
thoughtful. Very, very, very thoughtful. That's great. But I just think they have great stories, those people. I'm sure they did.
One of the funniest I'll share this with you because this was hysterical. I interviewed John Leeper, who is one of the backers, and he's also backed other films. And I laughed out loud. He did a movie called backed a movie called Velocipastor, I think it was called. I'm not sure what that's about. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
He said one of the merchandise that came with it was a butt plug.
Oh my God.
When I was done the interview, I was like, this was something I would have never have gotten out of Debbie Voorhees,
I mean, that's kind of weird.
But that's weird. Not even a porn film. I'm like,
yeah, that's why? Right. Why?
It's a Velociraptor / Pat. What is it?
Yeah, that's weird. Well, I mean,
I got a kick.
Listen, you're still talking about it, so it must have been worthwhile. You know what I mean? It's something that people still talk about.
Well, I never heard of anything like that outside of the X-rated genres. That's all I'll say about that. But I thought that was funny.
That is pretty funny.
And outside that, probably the one person I'm most envious of on 13 Fanboy is Vincent DeSante, who I've had on here a couple of times. I wish I was standing where he was on that last shot post credits.
Yeah, that's funny. That was funny. That surprised everybody. That because that was such a we shouldn't give it away. But
no, don't give it away.
I won't give it away. But we were it was a very quiet scene, and I'm supposed to be dead, and so I'm just lying there, looking dead, and the whole cast and crew and everybody's quiet and hush, and he's doing his thing, and when I surprised him, he jumped because he was he was in the scene, he was in the moment, and he was really focused, and it was in a dark room, and the crew's busy and watching, and it was very intense. And then I looked up at him, and he just flew like it was. And I had asked Riley, who was shooting some behind the scenes video, to roll. I looked at him and went, roll the camera, because he looked at me, and I'm like, just roll the camera. And we had done one take, and I said, Deborah, could we do that take again? It didn't feel right to me, which is so funny because here I am just lying there dead. I didn't have anything to do. But so she said, sure, we'll do it again. And so they did it again. And Riley was rolling on it. And then I did what I did. And I laughed because it made the end credits, which was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
I have Vincent DeSante on here a couple times. Great guy. Loved Never Hike Alone.
Yeah.
And that and It's Me, Billy, which is the Black Christmas fan film, both highly recommended.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, I was really happy to have you come back here today, and
thank you.
What did you get for Christmas?
Oh, just family and love and friends, and it was all good. It was a nice holiday. We had a really, really nice time. I got a new car actually, but that was for me. But it came the day before Christmas, so that was nice.
I hope you weren't in a situation I was on the highway.
Well, my car was older and I needed a new car and I wanted one that didn't use as much gas. You know,
Yeah.
didn't I got a battery up, a solar car, or not a solar, but a electric vehicle, so that I don't have to, fill it up with gas and I can charge it at home. And so that was pretty cool.
Oh, what are those like?
Well, it's different. I got the little Tesla, the smallest little one they make, the Model 3.
Yeah.
And it's really streamlined. It's like driving a rocket ship, and because it's just very space age, and the whole interior is beautiful, and big, huge display, like computer screen, basically, that's there, big. It's the size of a laptop screen, and it rides a little bit. I mean, it has some power to it, but it feels a little bit like driving a golf cart that's battery operated, because when you push on the gas or push on the pedal, it moves. And then when you take your foot off the pedal, not like a gas powered car that will slowly coast to a stop, it like stops immediately because the electrical charge is not happening, and the whole thing just stops. It's very strange. It's weird getting used to, but I'll never have to buy gas for it again. So I'm happy about that.
Nice. Gas is a little pricey. Like when
Oh
my
yeah.
brother and his sister, my sister-in-law, my brother and myself get our new place, one of the plans is to get solar panels and stuff like that so we can.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah. I wanted to move to Toronto, but my brother said, why not stay here where it'd be less expensive, live in the place with them where I won't have be charged rent, and I can go to Toronto a couple times a year.
That's very smart. That's a
Yeah.
really smart. And besides, you need to be near your parents. They need you.
Yeah, definitely right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I was so glad to have you. I hope you come back on next Boxing Day.
Well, unless if I'm in town, I'd be happy to do it. If I
Why
don't,
wouldn't you be in town?
well, because I go skiing, and COVID's over, I'm going to be traveling more. But yeah, you can, if COVID's over, I can't guarantee it, but I'm sure I can make time for you, Greg.
You know what? I hope COVID is over. I'm tired of it.
I am too.
I got to show my vaccine card, which I got all laminated and stuff to let people know. Like,
Yeah.
and I know people that aren't vaccinated too. So
Hmm.
I don't judge them. I understand
I fear for them, because if they get sick, they could die. And if they get sick and they end up in the hospital, they take it, because if you're not vaccinated, you have a higher chance of being hospitalized. And then they're taking away beds from heart attack patients and car accident patients, and people who need emergency room beds. And when they fill up with COVID patients, that's not good. That's not a good thing. So, getting vaccinated will prevent you from ending up in the hospital. And so I think that you get vaccinated just to help your fellow mankind, help your neighbors. So
I did it for Toronto.
yeah, that's right. To travel, right?
Although the plane was only about half full, so.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah.
Back then they were only filling them half full, and you were nobody sitting next to you. Now the flights are packed, which is crazy. Crazy.
Well, I went to a Halloween party in Toronto with Lisa, and one of her friends and I went to the street party. And I had my mask on, but I wasn't nervous. I wasn't bothered.
Well, if you're vaccinated, you feel safer. I do. Especially when you get a booster, you feel almost invincible. It's like, okay, I feel safe now. But it's not true. People are still getting sick. But I feel like if I do get it, I'm not going to end up in the hospital. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you back teaching in the school right now?
I am. Yeah. I was on campus this whole fall. I started in September, late August, and I was on campus 4 days a week, teaching smaller classes. They would limit the number of students that could come to campus for safety. and we always had masks on, and students have to be vaccinated. And I had to be vaccinated, of course, which I was, but it was great to be back on campus to see the students. I love it. So much fun and so great to be around them. Now with Omicron, the numbers in Los Angeles are just like doubling every day. So that's a little crazy. So we'll see what's going to happen for the spring. I'm supposed to be back on campus again in the spring. So we'll see.
I don't know. I don't think we've had Omicron here.
Omicron, you don't think so? The variant hasn't come there?
Not that I know of.
It's now in most places, it's overtaken Delta, like completely. Like it's 90% of people who get sick are sick because of the Omicron strain, not Delta. So it might be. I have a feeling it probably is everywhere now. It's really taken over. Yeah.
What's it going to take to get rid of it?
I know. Well, everyone needs to get vaccinated. That's all. If everyone gets vaccinated, it'll burn itself out because there'll be nobody to infect. But I'm not going to preach. No. I just wanted, I'm happy to be here with you, Greg. And I look forward to perhaps doing this again next year.
I would love to. I always have time for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And happy Boxing Day to you. And enjoy your rest of your year, and have happy New Year. Have a safe New Year.
Well, before I let you go, I would love for you to do a plug for my show.
Sure. Tell me what to say.
Just state your name and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Let me try again. Hi, I'm Tracie Savage. You're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Tracie, it's always a pleasure having you on here.
Thank you.
And like I said, if you're ever feeling low, remember how much money I spent just because of you in that movie.
I hope you found it well worth it. I hope you got your money's worth out of it. I hope you thought it was to see that great movie. I hope that made you feel good. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You were the name that was dropped. I was like, the moment she dropped your name, I was like, I knew.
Thank you.
I had to get involved. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I'm glad. Looking forward to the Blu-ray and
yeah.
But nonetheless, 3 times.
3 times. You got it, kiddo. Well, happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
You have yourself a wonderful new year. Happy 2022. And I think you're one of the most beautiful people God ever created. You're very kind. And you make my day, Greg. You make my day. Thank you. I need to see you at a con. There you go. Well, I don't go to many, but I will. I may. My son's getting older, and it's easier for me to travel now. So yeah. Absolutely. All right, kiddo. I got to run. God bless. See you later. You too. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.